Hi everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of the second season of the Cappella Podcast. I am so excited because today we have an episode that is completely different from the episode we had last time. And this is what I love about this show is we're able to talk about all the details and the issues and the challenges surrounding parenting in so many different ways, and we're able to take so many different approaches. So the last episode we released was a live coaching session with an expecting mom, and we really got deep and went through all her issues, her challenges, her fears. This time, it's different. I'm interviewing Tara Clark from Modern Mom Probs. Tara Clark is an author, speaker, content creator, podcaster, and the founder of Modern Mom Probs. After becoming a mom and recognizing a hole in the online space for moms to authentically connect, she launched her Instagram account in 2016. She has since built a valued community, solidifying herself as a humorous, trusted voice in the parenting space. Her work has been featured in prominent publications. She published her first parenting book, Modern Mom Probs, A Survival Guide for 21st Century Mothers, in April 2021. She's an advocate for mental health support, maternal mental health support, and she launched the Modern Mom Probs podcast in 2022. And in that podcast, she seeks to find solutions for modern mom problems by interviewing medical experts, therapists, popular content creators, and authors. She's such an amazing woman, and I was so grateful when she accepted to be on the Cappella Podcast. So I really, really hope you enjoy this one. As usual, you can find the video recording of this interview on our YouTube channel, and you'll even see the beautiful background that Tara has in her office. So I highly recommend you go watch it. Everyone, thanks for joining us again on the Cappella Podcast. I'm super excited today to have Tara Clark from Modern Mom Probs on the show. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be chatting with you.
Of course. I'm so excited. So could we just start by a short intro? Where you tell us, who you are, if people don't know you, what you're up to, what you love. It's always good to get to know people before we start a real deep conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Tara Clark, and I'm the creator of an Instagram account called Modern Mom Probs, where I like to say that we try to solve the world's problems, but if we can't, at least we're having fun talking about them, which is obviously what we're going to be doing today. I am a wife and a mother to one son. I started my Instagram account in 2016, and then in 2017, I actually changed the name to Modern Mom Prob, and then the account just took off from there. And so I'm very grateful for that. And since 2017, I've just continued to build the community and have conversations around modern mom problems, whether they are silly, funny things, or whether they are more serious things like postpartum depression and miscarriage. And so it really runs the gamut. I like to say as long as it falls underneath the umbrella of a modern mom problem, I will talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you. And I was just thinking while I was listening to you, since you've been running Modern Mom Probs since 2016, 17, have you seen an evolution of the problems? Because obviously you want to address taboo topics, and are certain things less taboo today than they were even back in 2017. What is kind of the evolution you've seen in modern mom problems since 2016?
Yeah, I've seen an evolution of both social media and modern mom problems at that same time. And so, yeah, let's talk about that. Some things that really evolved were obviously loneliness and social media comparison and a lot of mom guilt. And then there was the pandemic, and then there were all of those things that we were dealing with during the pandemic. And now after we've come through that, thank goodness. Some of those same issues have subsided, maybe not all of them, but many of them have. And so I've definitely seen a difference in that. And then going back to what I was saying about how social media has evolved is when I first started posting, people were not talking about the heavier sides of motherhood, meaning, like I said before, postpartum depression, maternal mental health, miscarriage. I unfortunately, before my son was born, I had struggled with miscarriage and infertility, and I felt so alone at that time. I was on social media, but I never saw anybody talking about anything like that. At that time in social media, people were like taking pictures of their lattes and taking photos of lunch, and people were not having the right, like seriously, but people were not having these deeper conversations. And I remember thinking, gosh, like I am so utterly alone in the situation that my husband and I were going through at the time. And so when I started Modern Mom Problems, I originally was doing it, making fun of sort of like first world problems of being a mother and living in New York City at the time. And then it evolved into having these deeper conversations about maternal mental health and infertility, pregnancy loss. And as I was having those conversations, then social media was changing in as much as like people were starting to talk about this. And I'm so grateful that we have the platforms to share our experiences so that other people realize, hey, I'm not alone in my experience.
Yes, completely. Social media is kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time, and I want to get into it. What do you think should be your behavior as a mom or even a parent more generally when using social media? Like, do you follow a lot of other moms and take inspiration from what everyone's doing? And then maybe some people could feel overwhelmed because there's so many people doing things so differently. Or do you follow like a couple of accounts that you select and that you really resonate with? What is your advice to building kind of a healthy feed, if that word can be used?
Right. I like if we would put that in quotations, a healthy feed.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I do think that's important. I think that's an excellent question, and one that I don't think I've ever been asked before. And I'm glad to explore that. I like to follow people who motivate me, inspire me, make me laugh, make me a better person, make me a better mother. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I bet that's what other people are looking for too in their content and in their feed. And if there are people who make you feel bad about yourself, make you feel bad about your parenting style or just, life in general, then, it's probably a good idea to unfollow those people. And the challenging thing about social media is the comparison trap. And as a creator, we see what other people are doing and other people's success. Gosh, why can't I be like them? Gosh, why can't I do that? And so I think that's why you see so much recent sort of like copycatting of creators' ideas and concepts with like trending sounds, right? And trending topics. Then all of a sudden, everyone's doing the same joke. Everyone's doing the same thing. And it's funny because years ago, my friends and I, again, this is like 7 years ago, we were some of the first original people writing parenting joke on social media. And now we see, like our jokes are like the TikToks with like the trending sounds or, people like putting our jokes over there dancing and stuff like that. So it's kind of a wild time in social media, but it's definitely evolved. But going back to the comparison trap, it's really challenging because you think I should be doing this, and I should be doing that. And then like you're shoulding all over yourself, right? Because you're thinking about all the different things. But I really like to say you can only do yourself. People talk so often about being authentic on social media. And then I started to question like, well, what does that mean? What is actually being authentic? Is it that you're showing yourself without makeup? Is it that you're showing your kid's playroom how it is before you've tidied it? Like, what is it actually? And for me, yes, I do think that those things are part of being authentic. But what I think it is for me is not taking anyone else's style and not necessarily doing anyone else's content because that's not who I am. So I'll give you an example. For me, I am terrible at picking up my phone and just talking straight into the camera. And some people, I have very good friends who are extraordinarily talented at that. They are wonderful. They could pick up the phone and be like, blah, 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 blah. And they are hilarious and they are wonderful and I love them for it. But that's just not who I am. And then I have other friends who are great video makers and they will dance and they will add commentary to their dancing and they're fantastic at that. And again, like that's not who I am either. And so you have to really look at yourself as a creator and as a parent and say like, what am I good at? And then let me lean into that. I can't be someone else and I don't want to be someone else. And so I think the most important thing is to take a step back when you're seeing all this different content all over the place and take a step back and say like, who am I? What fills up my cup? And really lean into that and then pursue that. And now maybe, it may not have as much commercial success as, someone dancing or someone picking up their phone and talking straight into the camera. But as long as you feel good about it in your heart, that's the important thing.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree. But there's still something that I, struggle with a little bit in understanding the comparison trap. And it's a really interesting topic because people talk about it. People say, I'm acutely aware that I shouldn't compare myself to what I see, but I still do it.
Same. I do too. So I can't say that I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, so people talk about it, they're aware of it, but at the same time, everything they put on social media is still curated, which is normal. Like you're never going to post stuff that you don't want out there. So it's kind of a problem that you can't solve because if you want people to be real, they will never really be real. And it's the same people that are telling you don't believe what you see on social media. So that's
it's true. It's so true. I find that so much of it. Oh, I think
awareness.
I think we were breaking up there for a second.
Yeah, we were breaking up. We're back.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, it's fine. So I agree 100%. So much of what I see on social media is performative. And again, that's not me. And I don't like that. And so it's something that I struggle with because like you see the performative nature, just like you said, it's the same people that are saying, don't believe everything you see on social media, but then also they are curated in what they're doing. So
yeah,
I'm
which
totally
is normal
with you,
which
is normal. It's normal. I feel like that's sort of just our current state of things. And so it's hard not to see that, but I get sucked into the comparison trap just as much as the next girl. And like I said, I've been doing this for a very long time and it's hard. And also it's hard because the landscape has changed in the last few years. And so, there was sort of like pre-pandemic social media and post-pandemic social media with like the introduction and success of TikTok. And so things have really changed. And so I even find myself saying like, okay, where do I fit in? Where do I belong? And for me, like I love podcasting. And so I would rather have a 40-minute conversation with you than to be forced to do a 7-second reel. And that's just me. And like, that goes back to being authentic. Right. And so it's like some people will crush a 7-second reel and like, good for them. Like that's their thing. And I think there's room at the table for everyone and everyone brings something special and something different.
Exactly. And it's also such a good way for anyone to express themselves. Like anyone can just show things. And if we want to stay on the topic of social media, one kind of danger that I see with social media is that, I know that at Modern Mom Probs, you really want to give trustworthy advice and, advice that's verified, that you have experts that come on your show or that you interview or etc. And on social media, those experts that have studied and done a lot of, research in a particular field, they have the same weight or the same voice as someone who would, be even a troll or like everyone has kind of the same, the same voice and the same,
platform
everyone has like
to be
one
able
vote.
to speak on that. Yes, I agree. That is something that is very challenging. And again, I think that I've seen much more of that in the last 3 years is that everyone's sort of coming up as like experts or life coaches. I feel like those are like the two camps of that I see, like coaches and experts on things. And I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I am a learner of life and of the conversations that I have with people. And I've been having wonderful conversations with experts all throughout my time on social and even still. And so I think it's important to weigh all of this information that we see. And then, like you said, like verify. You could like trust but verify. And I think that's so important because I've heard a lot of different things from people that are like sleep experts, sleep training and lactation
Yes.
training and all of that kind of stuff. And so I agree. I think it's important to verify the information.
Yeah, which is sometimes difficult to do. And that's, you want to believe something and you don't know. But yeah, let's move away from the topic of social media.
Sure.
I want to ask you, Tara, since you're the expert of modern mom problems, what are the top 3 modern mom problems now in 2023 and this day and age?
I would say loneliness is a huge one, because as human beings, we want to be with people. We want to be in our village. And obviously, I'm speaking to you from America. And so I'm sort of looking at this through an American lens.
Mhm.
And, we are very isolated from each other, and that causes a lot of loneliness. And so the women and parents often do seek social media for camaraderie and community. And that's even how I started my account in the first place. I was living in New York City, one of the largest cities in the world, and I was so lonely as a new mother.
Mhm.
I didn't really have any friends that had children. All of my friends were like my work friends who were working at the time, and they didn't have kids. And so I thought, gosh, maybe I can start something on Instagram to like meet people. And I did. And it was wonderful. And my friends were all over the country, all over the world. And it was fantastic. And so that's how it got started. So loneliness, I would definitely say is a big one. I think guilt, mom guilt is a really big one too, because and that goes back to what I was saying, is like the shoulding is like, oh, I should be doing this with my child. I should be doing that with my child. And whether you're distracted from work duties or home duties or all of it's an unlimited list of things that parents tend to feel guilt about. But I think that guilt is a big thing. And I feel like we could have like a whole conversation on that all together, right? Because even on a day, let's say you have a rainy Saturday, you shouldn't be watching television all day. We should be reading books. We should be doing crafts. We should be doing all of these different things. And so I think that the should tends to creep up on a lot of those things. And what I like to say is that you just need to be more present in that moment and be more conscious, so that you can sort of put that guilt behind you and sort of just say like, okay, where are we right now? Like, okay, we should be doing this, but like, where am I at this moment? Let's connect in the moment and kind of move forward from there. And then my third, gosh, there are a couple in my mind right now that are heating for my third.
You can give more than 3. You can give 5.
Okay. Because I'm like, gosh, like what is so important that would necessarily make it to the third? Okay, my third I'm going to say is the mental load of motherhood and all of the responsibilities that we take on, whether we want to or not, we take on as moms, and having to work through that. And if we have a partner, work with our partner to alleviate some of that stress and some of those responsibilities. So I think those would probably be my top 3: loneliness, mom guilt, and the mental load of motherhood.
Yeah, that's extremely interesting. The mental
Can I tell
load
you
is
my
a big,
Can I tell you
Sorry.
my fourth one? No, it's fine.
Yes.
I spoke on top of you, so my apologies.
No.
My fourth one that I was like, am I going to compete on this one, is breaking generational cycles. I think we now have a generation of parents who are breaking any of the negative, trying to break the negative bad habits of our parents and our grandparents and our previous generations. And so that was my fourth one.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of that, which kind of reinforces the loneliness, because if you're talking to your mother or your mother-in-law and they give you this advice, we did it that way, and you don't agree at all, then you're even more kind of lonely, is things I've seen. So it just kind of it's just the same problem somewhere.
It's sort of cyclical. There's sort of a cycle there,
but it's also positive, because the fact that people are breaking these cycles and trying to be more mindful and to really do what they believe is best, rather than what they've been told or what they've been kind of forced to do, is also a really good thing, I believe.
I agree. And going back to what you were saying, is like sometimes that can be lonely, but there's definitely sort of like a bravery in that particular loneliness, if that makes sense, because that you're standing up for what's right, and then maybe you're standing alone, but at least that you're standing up for your children.
No, that's definitely really interesting. The topic of loneliness is extremely interesting, because we're so connected. There's so many mom groups, and you would think, how could you still feel lonely if you're, on Reddit, there's like channels for every month, like, every birth month, there's another group. So you're thinking, how could you be so lonely in a world where there's so many options? There are so many options at the same time, but I guess
It
it's,
happens. Just on Friday night, I hosted
yeah.
my first ever in-person Modern Mom
Yes.
Probs event, which was wonderful. And I was speaking with a woman who runs a magazine. She was a
Mm-hmm.
guest of mine, and she said, "Thank you so much for having this event and inviting me." She said, "I often feel so isolated in what I
Mm-hmm.
do from working from home." And I said, "I
Mm-hmm.
understand, because I often tell my husband that I feel like I work in a silo. So I
Yeah.
work from home, and I drop my son off at school and I come home and I'm home all day. And even though, yes, I'm communicating with people through my computer, it's still not the same as
Yeah.
having a conversation with someone in person, as the same thing as
Yeah.
having a conversation maybe over dinner, having a nice meal." And so
Yeah.
there's just something so special and so natural about having these in-person conversations versus just like a quick DM or a quick text message.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, going back to what you were saying about with like the Reddit rooms of the world, I think it has to do with quality of connection,
Yeah.
not necessarily the quantity of connection.
Yes. Yes, that's right. That's right. Because actually, you could connect with someone on one issue, and then it's just, how did you do this? And you just, ask this one person you met on Reddit about a particular thing, but it's not going to become your friend or, so
And
how was it?
sometimes we do. Like I said,
Yeah.
my best friends are my internet friends. One of my best friends is in Arizona and I'm in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friends are all over the world. So I'm not saying that you can't make best friends, but
Yeah.
you know what the best time is? When I fly out to Arizona to see
Yeah.
her, and we hug and we hang out and we chat, and we're just like little kids
Exactly.
all over again.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. I was about to ask you to tell us a bit more about your first in-person event. How many people were there? How was it?
Yeah,
What did you guys talk about?
it went really, really well. So I was approached by a Greek restaurant actually to host an
Ooh.
event. And so I just said yes. I'm the type of person that I always say yes to everything. And then I sort of like back into the idea afterwards. So they asked me to do this and I said, yeah, sure. So I knew that one of my good friends is opening up a media agency. And I said to her, like, would you be interested in collaborating with me on an event? So it could be your launch party and an event for my brand. And she was like, yeah, would you do that for me? And I said, of course I would do that for you. And so that was how the collaboration worked out. And so there are actually two business partners. One lives in Delaware, the other one lives in Los Angeles. They both
Mhm.
traveled into New York City, and we had, I think it was 75 people, and it was content creators, brands, agency people, some media folk, and it was wonderful. We were going to do a panel about the state of social media, like the
Mhm.
industry. But then the venue wasn't really conducive for a panel. Like, there was like
Mhm.
music. And so we said, you know what, let's scrap the panel and let's just let everyone hang out all night. And it was
Mhm.
wonderful. And everyone was so
That's
appreciative that we could like hug each other and see each other. And these are people that I've known for a very long time on social and have
yeah.
just never had the opportunity to meet. And so I'm
Yeah.
all about bringing people together. I'm all about community. And so we met up and
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
That's awesome because that's also what we need to meet people in person and to go to events. And that's really what we need. So, really happy about that. That sounded awesome. I'll come to the next one if I'm
Yes.
around.
Yes. If
Um,
you're in New York City, you absolutely have to come.
yeah, definitely. I will. I wanted to ask you something else. So, on Modern Mom Props, you also have, if I'm not mistaken, a clothing box where you can rent some clothes. And it was really interesting when I first discovered that, because I thought, when you think of mom, mother, or new mother, you think about mental load, and you think about a bunch of things: physical, mental, healing, and health. But clothing is kind of the last thing you you would think about when you think about a mother. So why did you decide to, start this project and help provide women with nice clothes, or mothers
Yeah.
actually with nice clothes?
Yeah. So Modern Mom Style Box started in September of 2021. So we're about almost 2 years into it now. And I started it because I'll tell you the full story. Do you want to hear the full
Okay.
story? I'll tell you the full
Yeah,
story. Okay.
sure.
When I was first out of college, I was working in an office and I wasn't making a lot of money. And so I didn't have a lot of money for my office clothes. And I remember one time I was at a business lunch with my coworkers and I
Hmm.
said, you know what would be neat if there was a company, if there was a way that I could start a company where you could rent clothes. And then when you're done with them, then you send them back and then you get new clothes.
Yeah.
And everyone at the table was about like 15 years my senior. So I was like much younger, and they all laughed at me. They straight up laughed. They were like, that's the silliest idea I've ever heard. Like no one would ever go for something like that. And I was like, no. Well, I think they will. Like, it's cool. And they're like, right. Okay. So then I like put that idea in the back of my head for a very long time. And then companies like Rent the Runway came out, and I was like, that's my idea. And so when I was approached to do the Modern Mom Style Box in 2021, I jumped at the chance because it was my idea from literally 20 years ago. And so
awesome.
It really came full circle. So I like to tell people, like, don't ever like give up on your dreams, because you might find a way to
an unexpected way.
Exactly. And so how it works is that members sign up and they receive 3 items in a box of clothing, and then they can either decide to keep them or send them back. And the more frequently you send your box back, then you get another box shipped. So meaning that you may, if you're really diligent about it, you may get 4 boxes sent to you a month if you send it back, then send it back, send it back. That's what I do. I don't keep my clothes for very long. I'll like keep it and then wear it and then send it right back. And you pick them all on the website. Awesome. You pick your styles and then they're sent to you. And so why did I do it? So in addition to the idea of renting clothes 20 years ago, now for moms is that, just like you said earlier, you know, we're so often in leggings and sweatpants and like not dressing up, but like it's so important to be able to dress up, feel good about yourself. And the other thing too is like many moms that are working outside of the home, like they may need outfits for the office and in different stages of motherhood. You know, my son is 10 now. And so like I can get dressed up nice. He's not, I mean, knock on wood, he's not going to spill something on me or throw up on me or something like that, like he would have done when he was a baby. So it's different seasons of motherhood as well. You know, when he was little baby, no, I wasn't thinking about dressing up because you're in survival mode. But eventually you get out of survival mode. And so then when you're out of survival mode, you're like, I want to look cute again. So that's where Modern Mom Style Box comes in.
That's such an awesome idea. And even recently I was like, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like I would need a box because I would really want to rent like a nice dress, but just for the one night, because I'm not going to wear it often. So I might just rent it. And I really had that pain point. So I see it. It's super interesting that you did this for moms. And also, I also think a lot about working moms, and I'm all about empowering women to, you know, work, go after their dreams and all of that. And having peace of mind while doing it. And I feel like this is also a tool to give someone peace of mind. If you're traveling, you could just maybe get your clothes delivered kind of to the wherever you are for work, and then come back home and not have to worry about too much. So this system could really be huge if a lot of people start using it and we just start renting clothes instead of buying. So yeah, that's an awesome thing. I really see the pain point.
Thank you.
We've talked about so many things.
I know we really did cover a lot of things. I mean, we could talk about all kinds of things.
No, it's really awesome to see how you grew this community, and I actually really want to know a bit more about how you made it grow so big, because it's really unusual to see people with that many followers. I mean, it's not unusual in general, but in the mom space, it's more unusual. And so tell me a bit more about how you built this community of people that, you know, come back and follow and comment and take part and read your articles, listen to your podcasts. That's a lot of work to build a community and to be such a community builder. I'd love to learn a bit more about how you did that, how that happened.
I'd like to say that I happened to be in the right place at the right time. And as much as when I started my account, I like to call it the golden age of Instagram, where virtually anything that you were putting out, people were like, yay, that's wonderful. That's great. And so the account just grew. Like I said, I started the account in 2016 with the name NYC Mom Probs. And I was joking about living in New York City, because when you live in a city, it's different from living in the suburbs with kids. And so I had jokes inherently for New York City moms. And then I moved to the suburbs in 2017 and I had this existential crisis. And I said, oh no, like I don't have New York City mom problems anymore. Now I have, what kind of problems do I have? So one of my friends and I, Angela, she And I sat and thought, like, we were going through different adjectives, like what should we call it? And so then I came up with modern, and she was like, yes. And so literally the next day I flicked the switch and I changed all of my material, and it was Modern Mom Problems. And then the account just took off from there. But what I really like to say is that it's all about community, and it has always been about community. I've never wanted the account to be like the Tara Clark show. And only in the last like year or two has it been more about me than it ever was. I always wanted it to be more about the topic and more about the community and showcasing my friends' talent and my talent and all of that. And so I don't think that I would be where I am without the community, without my friends, without the other people that are all doing this together. And at that time, in the 2017, 2018 time, everyone was just trying to like grow together and support each other. And it was, I think, much more collaborative than it is now. Now I feel like people are much more siloed in what they do. And it's fine. It's just, things evolve and things change. And that's sort of just what happened over time. But the 2017 to 19, like we were just having so much fun. We were just making jokes, doing things, and it was just so much fun. And then obviously 2020 with the pandemic hit. And so that was like a whole nother thing. But that was the pivotal time where things really changed because of TikTok. And that's how, Instagram
what's your
changed
favorite platform? Is it Instagram?
Instagram, because that's where I got started. And so I'm a big believer of like, you reap what you sow. So I spend all my time on Instagram, and then the account grew from there. And I was sort of late
still
to the
your
game.
favorite.
And it's still my favorite. It's still my favorite because you know what I like about it? I like the variety of it. TikTok obviously is like just videos, right? Whereas like Instagram, sometimes like you can't watch a video in as much, like meaning that you're in a place where like you want to just sit and read something. So like not every time is conducive to watching videos. If that makes sense. And so that's what I like about Instagram is like, sometimes I'm reading written words, sometimes I'm watching a video, sometimes I'm watching a dance thing, sometimes I'm watching a hack. And so I like the variety of Instagram. And then recently they introduced threads in the United States, and people were so excited because it was going back to the written word. And so I was saying to my friends, like, yes, this is it. For me, Instagram was coming back full circle because I never loved making videos. I still don't love making videos. I make them because and I'm using quotes, I have to, and I should, and that's what I'm supposed to do. But that's not where I got my start on Instagram. I got my start as like a writer, writing humorous mom stuff. And so now I could come back full circle and write humorous mom stuff on Threads, and it came full circle for me.
I think Threads had like the biggest launch. They weren't expecting so many people to sign up so quickly. So that was a huge success. And it's really interesting to see why it's been such a huge success since it came out.
It was bananas.
Factors, but
I think it was many factors. I think people were looking for something new. I think people were looking for something, obviously, that's not Twitter, but similar to Twitter. And I think people were really enjoying the wittiness in reading the posts again. And I think to a certain degree, I think there's a little bit of exhaustion from the video TikToks, and that there's something, nice about and comforting about the written word sometimes. And so I think that 100%. Was fun. Threads was crazy. I had gained 50 followers like in like the first 24 hours of it. It was like the most bananas thing. I was like, what is happening here? Which is cool. Like, I'm not going to complain that. I just like wasn't like expecting that, or didn't have any sort of like strategy for it or anything. I still don't. But I'm just happy that it came back full circle. Cause like I said, that's how I got started on Instagram, writing memes and funny quips and one-liners. And now it's like come back full circle.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you can really touch on every topic, because I know that you kind of touch on every topic. If people read your blog, there's style, there's wellness, there's how to work out, how to, a bunch of different things, which is something I really, really like about what you do, is that it's so all encompassing, and you can really just read your blog and get information on a bunch of different things. So that's pretty cool. Well, we're kind of reaching the end soon. And there's a question that I like to ask every guest that comes on this podcast. And it's a simple one, but it's also a very deep one. I've realized, is if you had like in front of you right now, a new parent, a new mom that just had a baby, or, is about to have a baby, what are the top 3 pieces of advice that you would give her for parenthood in general and how to navigate this? If you could only tell her 3 things, what would they be? I feel like I'm doing a lot of things in threes today. But
no, I like threes. Threes is my favorite. It's my favorite number. I think that's totally fine. I love everything in threes. My first one would be like Elsa and let it go. There's so much pressure that we put on ourselves as new parents. And I wish someone would have said to me, like, it doesn't matter. Like, just, it's okay. Let it go. So that would be my first one. Let go of the pressure that we're putting on ourselves, or the pressure that you feel like society is putting it on you for that. Cause that is really a big one. And I probably had been a parent maybe until I don't know, maybe my son was 5 or 6 before I even realized that I needed to let go of a lot of that. And once you do, it is the single most freeing thing. It is so freeing to not feel the societal pressures or the pressures on yourself to do those things. And that goes back to the mom guilt, that we were talking about before. So let it go would be my first one.
Awesome. Yeah.
My second one would be ask for help. I also thought I could do everything and I needed to do everything in the beginning. And that's not necessarily the case. Ask your partner, ask your family, ask your friends.
And people want to help. And
they want to. Yeah. So it's okay to ask for help. So it really. And my third thing I would tell a new parent is order takeaway, order takeaway, because at least in the first 2 weeks after you have the baby, you come home from the hospital, you don't want to have to cook.
Yeah, so
definitely. Order takeaway in the very beginning. No, but I mean, that's a joke. I mean, it's serious. I am serious on that, but that is a joke one. But I think my third one would also be, it's so important because you don't want to have to think about food. You're in full survival mode at that point. So food is the last thing that cooking dinner is the last thing you want to have to be thinking about. But if I had to add another serious one is try as hard as you can to be present in the moment, to be conscious with yourself and with your baby and with your spouse, and like just check in on yourself. Whether checking in on yourself means like checking in on your own mental health, checking in on all the shoulds that you're telling yourself. It's really, really important to just check in with like, how am I feeling right now today?
Which is such a hard thing. Do you have any tips to check in with yourself and be present in the moment and try to keep up a healthy mind?
I think awareness. I think awareness. For me, awareness is such a big thing. So like when I start to get anxious about things, I have to stop and literally like talk to myself and say, okay, Tara, this is what you're feeling. This is where you're at. What are we going to do to make you feel better? Is it writing a list? Is it, trying to think of a happier thought? Is it trying to do baby steps to accomplish the task that you're trying to do, or whatever it is that's making you stressed out? And so I really have to talk to myself to build the awareness in order to sort of get past it to be productive.
I love this. The like, what am I going to do now to kind of quiet this? Well, Tara, thank you so much for being on the Cappella podcast. Where can people find you if they want to follow? And where can we find you?
Yeah. So on Instagram, you could find me at Modern Mom Probs. Follow me. We'll be friends. I have a book. It's called Modern Mom Probs. I'm pointing to the pillow over here. A survival guide for 21st century mothers. I have a podcast, Modern Mom Probs. It's on wherever you get your podcast. And follow me. Let's hang out. I'm big about branding. So anywhere that you could find Modern Mom Probs, I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I was actually thinking this whole time that I love the pillow, but I love the heart that you have with this neon
My friend
sign.
gave me that. Isn't that sweet? And it lights up. But
it lights up, I guess. Yeah. I was watching this the whole time, and I was like, it's so cute to do Zoom calls with a big heart in the background. That's also has
she got it for my birthday, and I was in tears because I was like, that was the most thoughtful birthday present that anyone's ever given me. So I really appreciated it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Tara.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much for listening. This was such a great one. And thank you so much if you made it till the end, because I have a huge announcement. Cappella, my company, we're going to be releasing our app on the Apple Store very, very soon. What our app is going to be able to do is we're building a baby monitoring solution that is so much more innovative, so much more sustainable, so much more accurate, and so much more helpful than any baby monitor you can buy anywhere. The app is coming out really soon, and we're offering the app for free for 3 months if you sign up to our waitlist in the week that follows the release of this episode. So you'll find a link in the show notes. Sign up to our waitlist, and I can't wait to see you there, and I can't wait to have people, new parents, actually use our groundbreaking revolutionary app. Thank you.